Thought those days were gone.
They are.
We're starting over. Now we're live.
Oh, we weren't live
We
before?
were live the whole time.
Oh, wow. So all that whole time,
Surprise!
we
really-
were not live. That was just Memorex.
It was just
They called him the street.
Limerick.
Wow.
Okay, well, okay.
We are.
All right, so now we're live. I welcome once again
Wow, we
to
missed
the
a whole lot of
forum.
good stuff.
I know,
Practice
man.
room.
Let's see if we can recreate that. Where was I? Oh yeah, I mentioned our safety scores.
Yes,
have gone down.
did you bring the data, Steve?
You know, it's sitting on my desk. I was kind of hoping you did.
Well, good thing I'm here because I brought it.
Good. All right. So.
Wow.
Yeah, song and dance. Okay. We do have new drivers this week, and we'd like to introduce those to you now. And we'd like to welcome Mr. Mark Haley from Sulphur, Louisiana.
Again.
Mr. Gator fan.
Mr. Gator fan.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Seminole.
Seminole. Welcome to the SPD family, Mark.
Thank you.
And then we have Mr. Daniel Leary from Forks, Washington. Welcome to the family.
Welcome, Dan.
You don't have any problems with vampires down there, do you?
Oh, God. Waiting for somebody to ask that.
That's funny. Wolves? No. Okay.
And the crowd erupts. They're all in standing ovation. Wally has just walked in the room.
Yay!
Blinded by the
Forehead.
The forehead. Okay. Okay. So next up, birthdays and anniversaries.
Take birthdays.
And
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there you
Got
go.
cake. All right, happy birthday to James Hopkins, to Bart Neal, and to Randall Sargent. Happy birthday, guys.
Happy birthday. We have our anniversaries. I'd like to say happy anniversary to Randall Sargent. 3
Wow.
years.
Birthday and an anniversary in the
I
same
know.
month. Wow.
3 years at SPD. God, it just seems like yesterday.
I remember his first day here.
Wow. So congratulations, Randall. James Sheen and Saunders Sheen, 2 years respectively. Congratulations. And then they're also the winner of that truck too, that new truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Mr. Monty Mills, 1 year at SPD. So congratulations on your anniversary.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Good movie.
Good movie. Okay, so yeah, hey, on the ELD subject, boy, I'm just loving ELD more and more every day. You think you guys don't like it? Jesus, you got to see what I got to go through on my end, just trying to get it all work right, myself and Tom and everybody. But there's been a lot of updates going on recently, so you're going to get some changes in there, and that means that you'll get the warning things that says if you're not compliant, so forth and so on. PeopleNet assures me that they're going to go away. If they don't, let me know. Okay. I don't know. Still don't know what the enhancements were because they still haven't told me. So I don't know what the enhancements are. But if you notice anything different, let me know. Hey, what can I tell you? I can't get them out of. I can't get it out of them. I'm pretty sure it's just more performance kind of stuff, to make it work faster and be more accurate with miles and all that stuff. So, all right, good job with that. But remember to certify your logs. They haven't fixed that glitch yet, by the way. I checked, and it's still not. You certify your logs, and then they come back. Anybody had that problem?
Yes.
So they've been going good?
It's been good.
Okay. So I'll keep investigating that, but please remember to certify your logs every day so that we're in compliance. And let's see what else we got going here. I think that's about it. Otherwise, everybody's doing a fantastic job on the ELD, and I'll leave it at that.
Sweet.
What are you trying to say?
All right. So as promised, we would come at this week with our stats for the month of February. Just talk about where we're at and what's going on. Wow, that is kind of pasty white.
Yep.
Holy smokes!
That's,
One
It must be the reflection from the forehead or something.
Clearly.
See if this is.
That's
yeah, well, there you go.
wow. All right. So total miles. We'll start off with total miles by week. So as we all know, we've been seeing some issues in regards to freight, especially out of the Northwest. What I wanted to do, instead of showing just the total miles, what I wanted to illustrate here is that, quite honestly, we have been on the asset side. Company trucks has been pretty steady. We haven't seen a whole lot of fluctuation. Where that fluctuation has been occurring, though, is if you look down at our brokerage number, which is the dark blue area, the loads that we can't haul that we are sending over to our brokerage team, their numbers have been significantly reduced. Part of that, again, not as much freight in the pool to go around. The other part is as we seat more trucks, that's less freight that's going over to the brokered side. So, we got opportunities that we're working on with our brokerage team. And again, as you can see, the light blue being company trucks or assets. You can see where the holidays hit. This was through yesterday, I believe, was when I took that snapshot. So you can see in December what happens. Obviously, when Christmas and that's that dip all the way over onto your left-hand side. And Christmas and New Year's, and then we recover pretty strong. And again, we've been pretty steady. And if I was to go back even farther, the number is pretty steady as far as what the number of miles that our company trucks are doing. Where we have seen a lot of the fluctuation again has been on the brokered side. All right. Next up, seated trucks. So positive sign, good thing. We are currently sitting at 95.7% of our company trucks are seated. And that means that right now, currently, I believe there is single digits or less than 10 trucks remaining in the fleet that are open. So and that number, as you can see across, this looks back at the past 12 months. It's been very, very consistent above 90% or at 85 to 90%. I like to keep that number at 95 or above, and we've had some pretty good success at doing so. So we've seen a rise here in the month of February. We went from 93
But you got glasses
to
on.
95. Yeah, I know, it's blurry though. 93 to 95 to the 95.7 that we're at currently when we finish the month of February. And the month of March has been a pretty strong month so far. So that number has gone up even more. Okay. All right, turnover rate. So we did see a little bit of a rise in our turnover rate for the month of February. Right at a 1% increase from January to February. You can see that the long graph in green, if you can see colors out there, that is our numbers for 2019. And then you've got the first 3 months of 2020, January, February, and March. We've had a pretty good March so far. February was, again, if you were to look at the total numbers, it was 9 versus 9. So we lost nine drivers in February. Last year, we lost 9 drivers in February. So it's been pretty consistent, and we've been staying within a percentage point of month over month for the entire year, pretty much. All right. Safety. So as Steve alluded to, we got our safety CSA scores in for the month of February. We did see improvements again. Unsafe driving, we did see a 1 percentage point. We saw a 1 percentage point increase in our unsafe driving score. That is speeding, primarily speeding violations in that category. Hours of service, we fell a full 7 percentage points from 40% to 33%. Driver fitness, again, is remaining steady at 0. Controlled substance or drug and alcohol, steady at 0. I might add, Mike was telling me yesterday that since moving to the new Clearinghouse, there has been over 744 positive test results since going into the new drug screen clearinghouse. So there has been, we haven't seen it, but there has been an overall increase in the number of positive drug screen results that we are seeing industry-wide. And that's why they put the clearinghouse into effect. Vehicle maintenance, we had a 2 percentage point drop in vehicle maintenance from 23 to 21. Hazardous materials, we have remained steady at 0. And crash indicator, we had a 4 percentage point drop from 13 to 9. So very good improvements overall. Our ISS, or inspection selection system, it has remained steady for 3, 4, or 5 months in a row at 30%. So again, likelihood of being inspected goes up as your number goes higher. 50% on the ISS score is an indicator to the DOT that company needs to be pulled in for inspections, or the likelihood of random inspections happening is more likely. As long as we keep that number well below 30, we should be in very good shape. As far as overall inspections for the month in the safety data for the month of February, we had a total of 31 inspections, level 1, 2, or 3 inspections, of which 12 had violations and 19 of those were clean. I would like to recognize those 19 individuals for their clean inspections. So, and then we'll talk a little bit about what happened with the dirty inspections, or the ones that had violations on them. All right. So Leslie Terpenning, Dan Lytle, Roy Knowles, Thomas Dees, Wendy Facklum, Mr. Brock, Tom Brock, Randall Hall, Ricky Baca, David Wilhite, Pam Wint, Daryl Erzin, Mr. Schminke, Steve Schminke, Keith Brabham, Jim Dean, Jeff Stone, Carlos Santana Concepcion, Joe Johnson, Jim Dean again, that's 2. Larry Rodriguez. I hope he wasn't wearing his helmet when he went through that inspection. All right, so congratulations, thank you guys. It's because of those clean inspections that keeps our CSA in control or under control. So of the violations, the things that we saw for violations in the month of February: this driver failed to maintain a supply of blank records of duty status. We've talked about this, and we've talked about this. Guys, you have to have 8 days of blank logbooks in your truck. Speeding 11 to 14 miles an hour over posted speed limit. Speeding 6 to 10 miles an hour over posted speed limit. Overweight violations, we know that we had 3 of those last month. Well, there's 2, there's 3. No hazardous material registration number, maintenance, emergency response information didn't have the guidebook in his truck. Or couldn't find it.
No, I couldn't reach it.
Okay, there you go. He's got little short guys, got to keep it right there in front of you. All right, another speeding violation, 6 to 10, and then an overwidth violation for not being in compliance. So, in general, not too bad. We knew about the overweight. We've already talked about those. Again, speeding guys. That's why you saw 4 speeding violations in the month of February, and you saw the results of that was our unsafe driving score went up by 1 percentage point. So we've got to keep that under control. If I look at that, you know what? I'm going to say we've done a fairly good job on the unsafe driving, because in January of 2019, we were at 56% for our unsafe driving score. It rose all the way to 61% in June, but we have seen a steady decline since June, ending in the month of February at 30%. So not bad at all there, guys. And again, thank you for all your efforts and contributing to keep that score low. It helps everybody out there. All right, what do we got next, Don? The rest of the story. All right, so the noise, yep, we're floating back and forth. I got a little noisy last week. We're done being noisy, so we'll go back to, holy crap, where did my notes go?
Oh, they're on your desk.
No, they're not. We were right here in my hand when I came up here. Oh,
Yeah.
no, noisy.
Hey, while we're waiting.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
COVID-19, you guys, we've seen, oh, there they are. We've seen quite a bit of activity, obviously, with the coronavirus going around. We've seen some of our customers have experienced. We saw yesterday there was one person at the Boeing Everett facility that tested positive. I'm sure that as tests are becoming more and more frequent or prevalent, they're testing a lot more people. We're going to see that number go up even more. We need to just be calm. Let's think about things rationally. This isn't really any worse than a cold from what I've seen and what I've heard. Yes, if you're an old person, and I'm not singling you out, Jerry, or if you've got a compromised immune
He
system,
is.
and I'm not singling you out, Tom Brock. But Fireball helps.
They said over 60. It's
does Bob.
killing,
Anyway,
killing everybody over 60.
you just
Nice knowing you guys.
keep yourself, clean. Wash your hands. We'll clean up your truck. I was talking to Ray Rod yesterday. He 2 or 3 times a day he's washing off his steering wheel just because of people that he comes in contact with or what have you. Door handles. We just have to think about those things. Those are the types of the way these things get transmitted. I know here at the office, if they're not feeling well, we're sending them home or they're going home. So we're trying to take this as serious as possible. We do still have a business to run. If you are, as I stated last week, when we posted the information that Dan had put out, if you are feeling ill and not feeling well, please don't come into the office. Please just text us, communicate via your cell phone. You can self-quarantine right there in your truck, right? And so as long as you're staying within your confines of your truck and you're not feeling well, I think we're okay. I don't want you out there on the road if you're not feeling well. You need to communicate with us so we can come up with rescue plans or whatever we need to do. But this is going to get worse before it gets better. I'm sure of it. As they're blowing it up, and some people are going way overboard with this thing, but they're trying to contain it and keep it at a minimum level. Again, I think we're up to 16 or something like that fatalities in the United States versus 21. Okay.
Washington.
Versus Washington is 16, 21. You're right, through the United States. The flu killed year to date for the last 12 months over 8,000 people. So, you take it all in context. Just keep yourself clean. Try and wash your hands. And use the sanitizers. If you see something at a facility, I guess I got a voicemail the other day. If we're out of supplies at any one of the facilities, please let me know so we can make sure. I know that some of our suppliers that we get supplies from, Costco, have been out of those things. And I was amazed the other day when I went into Costco on Sunday and to see that whole entire aisle empty. It was like, are you freaking kidding me? Toilet paper? But it is a fact, guys. They aren't out there. All right. A little update on Drive for Gold. So Drive for Gold, I verified yesterday, so I had to go through. I tried to. I had a conference call yesterday morning with Nicole from Staymetrics to find out the status on where we were at. They were waiting for a verification of active employees, which I went through that list yesterday morning along with Tracy and Dan. We sent that list around to make sure that we got everybody. Stay Metrics, again, is a program for company drivers. That is what the Drive for Gold is for company drivers. And so once they flipped the switch yesterday, some emails started going out yesterday afternoon. If you haven't gotten one, there'll be more emails going out today that will have the link to the new website, which I will post that link, or I will give that information to Dawn. They will post the link. Your points that you had in the previous program have been transferred over to the new program, and you will be prompted. There will be a password reset that will be sent with the email. You'll be prompted to reset your password, save that new link, get rid of the old link because that website's no longer valid or functioning. The new website is up and functioning now. And again, those emails should be going out today. Yep, there's that compromised immune system again. So
Still he died.
those emails should be going out. I'm going to be meeting with Don Danielson and Mike and some of the staff members to discuss the rewards program and how we are going to reward points. Yes, the rumor, I think Scott McCarroll talked about, yep, we're not going to be awarding points like we were before. That's a 100% actual fact. We will not be just handing points out like candy anymore. When we are issuing points, it's going to be for something that will provide a tangible benefit to the company or to SPD. Okay, so things like your safety training, watching the videos and doing your online safety training. Yep, you complete those things, you're going to get points for doing so. We are going to reward people for doing the things that need to be done, going above and beyond, and something that provides a benefit for SPD. Trucker tips, sending in trucker tips. Yep, that's something that we will probably be handing out points for. Those criteria have not been set yet. We will be meeting in the next week to talk about what we want to do. I'm going to be managing that program and administering that program. So as we go forward and start moving forward with this, if you have questions, please reach out to myself. There will be some flyers that will be printed out. I talked to Nicole again this morning, and those flyers will be coming out here shortly that we'll be able to include with our new hire packet, so the new hires will have the information needed so they can get themselves logged in and signed up. All right, so there we are with Stay Metrics. So sent out a couple of notifications or a couple of requests last week. Wanted to follow up on those. So Tarps and access to the shop floor, guys. That is a OSHA safe environment. We have to keep that shop area safe and compliant with OSHA requirements. Okay, you cannot be out on the shop floor if you do not have protective eyewear on. You're just not allowed out there. All right. If you are coming into the shop, you must sign in at the front desk where Jennifer is at, and let it be known that you're going to the shop floor. Okay. If an escort is needed, we can certainly provide that for you. We're not trying to limit the access to there, but we have to limit the access to there because of just the things that go on. If I have a tire explode and somebody, while they're airing it up or out on the machine, and we had one happen here just a week and a half ago, a tire gives way as they're airing it up, and it's a big explosion, and luckily it was in the cage, so it didn't cause any damage, but it'll scare the crap out of you when it happens. It shook the building. And so, guys, there's a lot of things that are going on out there, and a lot of things that you could trip or fall, or if you're not where you're supposed to be, you can get hurt. So I've got to make sure that we are treating that area with caution. All right, Tarps. So Mike, we've had some people that have come in and just grabbed partial sets of tarps that are along the wall. They only needed one, so they grabbed one instead of taking a full set. Well, that leaves another half set here that doesn't do us any freaking good, okay? So when you're coming into the Arlington, please see either Dan or Mike, my son, who's out there at the tarp area. He'll sign the tarps out, or they've got to sign in or a log sheet to log the tarps that are going out. No, we're not tracking who has what tarps because, man, that's just impossible for us to do. However, we do use that information to kind of gauge where we're at and how many tarps we have in reserve and what do we need to be working on, because that's not his only job. We have people, he does other things, setting up trucks, putting equipment on trucks. We have other mechanics that'll step in if they don't have anything going on, like the APU guy. He'll step in and work on tarps if we're running short on tarps. We've had some issues down in Pomona, I know. It was brought to my attention that Chino's was out of tarps. So we're working on getting some more tarps down there. We've had to rent a couple of trailers, and when we rent trailers, well, we don't get tarps when we're renting trailers, so we're using our tarps on rented trailers, and that just takes up the excess tarps that we have down there. Plus, okay, tarps tear. Things happen when we're out there on the road, and then we got to send them out to get them repaired. It takes a little bit of time to get them back. It's just it's a vicious cycle, and I ask that everybody help to participate and follow those guidelines so we can make sure that we're keeping you guys with the equipment that we need. And again, please don't just come in and take one tarp. It's a set of tarps. There's 3 that go together, or there's 2 that go together, and we need those 2 or those 3 to go out as one. All right. Okay. Fleet managers time. So as you know, we're 2 months in now with the new fleet manager rollout. We're seeing some of our reporting coming back now. We've been able to start measuring a little bit of some of the reporting that we're seeing. Guys, I'm amazed at the amount of phone calls that some of these folks are getting, and then when I dig into it even more, talking to those fleet managers, many of the times it's not even calls that they're getting about business. It's about, hey, what's going on today? Or I'm stopping for my 30-minute break. Or I'm fueling right now. It's stuff that could be handled by a text message if it's really information that you think we could be having. But I'll just take one fleet manager, for example, and I'm not going to name her. In 9 days, 577 phone calls in the 9 days of the month of March. That's a lot of phone calls, right? And then you start looking at the times of those phone calls, and there are times where those phone calls are coming in at 1:30 in the morning or at 10 o'clock at night. And yep, I get it. If there's something that's an emergency and it needs to be addressed, absolutely make that phone call. But if it's something that can wait until tomorrow morning, please let them get their rest. They've got 30 to 35 people that they need to be working with. And every time they get, some BS conversation about something that is not really important or not really work related, it's taking away from their time that they can spend with the other people on their fleet that really need attention or need some guidance. Okay, so just be respectful of their time, please, and understand that you're not the only person that they have, but you are as important as everybody else. And if it's something that needs to be addressed, we absolutely need to be there to address it. They are your advocate. Okay, so we don't just have one advocate in Wally anymore. We have 5. You got the 4 fleet managers because they have a very vested interest in ensuring your success, as does Wally, and so that's the way we set this up, and I'm pretty pleased with the way things have flowed so far in the first 2 months of this program. I think it was a giant leap forward for us, but again, guys, we got to draw some lines somewhere, and they are not, they're not there at their desk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And let's kind of be respectful of their time as well, okay? All right, next up, man, I had a bunch of, oh my Lord, here we go. All right, so I brought it up again, and you'll notice I've brought this up 4 or 5 times in the last couple of months. Collision avoidance. It is coming, guys. It is going to happen, okay? No, it's not mandatory yet, but it's going to be. In very short order, it is going to be mandatory that it's equipped on every new piece of equipment out there. I will tell you, part of the reason why we are moving down this path is if you look at, I've been watching the articles get posted. I think there was 3 trucking companies just this week that went out of business. One in Wisconsin. I think there was another one down in Dallas, Texas area. There is one common theme that you are constantly seeing with these companies that are going out of business, and it's the rising cost of insurance, okay? The cost to run our trucks out on the road and the liability that we have to pay, or the cost of having our trucks insured, is just doing nothing but going through the roof. We have to do things to help mitigate those costs. I was just reading yesterday that there are several cases that are working their way through district courts and different appeals courts right now where companies are being held liable because they didn't have collision avoidance in any of their fleet. It's available, the technology is available, and if we are not taking advantage or showing that we are moving forward with that technology, then you can be held liable as a company, and all that happens is those lawsuits start happening, and the extra zeros start happening, right? The 7 digits and the 8 digits start happening, and we don't need that to happen around here. Okay, we have to address it. So, as we are going forward with this year's trucks, I always try and, as I'm ordering new trucks, I always try and keep 2 or 3 trucks out of each batch that I order as unassigned, because I don't know what's going to happen over the next 4 or 5 months, right? So, if for example, we just ordered 34 trucks for the first 2 quarters of 2020. Out of those 34 trucks, 3 of them didn't have drivers. I didn't have really set aside for a specific driver. They were unassigned. Those 3 trucks are going to be coming in with collision mitigation on them, and lane avoidance, or the lane departure avoidance, right? As I am moving forward, or as we are moving forward throughout this year, as I see people, we will have conversations as we're discussing colors of trucks and things like that with the drivers that are tabbed to get new trucks. There will also be conversations about, are you willing to work to help us move towards collision mitigation? If you are not opposed to it, then we will order your truck with it. If you are opposed to it, then I'm not going to force it on people. However, once again, we are going to be introducing this technology. We currently have 5 of those trucks in the fleet now, or 6, I'm sorry, in the fleet now. And by the end of this year, for every 7 trucks that we are ordered, and we have 58 of them coming in this year, for every 7 that we are ordering, one of them will be equipped, at least one of them will be equipped with collision mitigation and lane departure avoidance. All right. Unfortunately, I understand people's reservations. I have reservations. We're going to have to be strategic in how we apply this technology. We have been working with Bendix and several of the manufacturers on things that we can do to help us with the integration of this technology into our fleet. They have, in several situations, it used to be just one sensor, like the Kenworths that we have now currently. They have one sensor, that license plate area on the front bumper. But now in this year's new version, I don't know what the heck version they're in, but they have added 2 sensors, or they have added another sensor. There's a camera that is above in the middle of the truck on the visor, or up on the top of the cab, and the 2 of those sensors communicate with each other, and they verify whether there is if what this sensor is seeing is what this sensor agrees it's seeing, and then it will initiate the braking or the collision avoidance, right? Guys, we have had some very serious accidents, one in particular here in the last month. I'm not at liberty to discuss said accident because there is a pretty significant lawsuit that is likely to happen because of it. We have to protect everybody in this company. And we have a obligation not only to our employees here, every employee here, but also to our shareholders to ensure that we are doing everything we can possibly do to mitigate these situations, right? You're never going to mitigate all of them. It's tough. It is extremely tough out there for the truck drivers because every time you create an open space to create the safe following distance, somebody takes it. I get it. People cut our drivers off constantly. I got to be ahead of that truck because, Lord, I just can't be behind them. I see them all the time. I look at the videos all the time. But guys, some of these accidents, these serious accidents, I hear the argument, I'm a safe driver. I've been here for 9 years and never had an accident. Well, guess what? It's just around the corner. Guys, some of these serious accidents that we've had are senior folks that have been here for a while, that have not had any accident issues, not had any speeding violations, not had any CSA violations, or even any smart drive camera events. Those things, that's why they're called accidents. They happen. Your attention goes away for just 1 second, and in that 1 second, something could happen that, whether you're having a cigar or whatever it is that you're doing behind the wheel, if you're not 100% focused all the time, accidents are going to happen. Okay? I have a question. Yes, Jason?
So, with the oversize, with that Bendix being mounted in the bumper,
Yep.
what are we doing with the banner?
Very good question. Thank you for the question, Jason. Jason's question is in regards to the oversize and the fact that the sensor, especially on the Kenworth trucks, is down there on the bumper, right where the oversized banner goes on, and it is affecting. And I did verify. Again, we had the conference call with Bendix and our manufacturers, and they have not come up with a solution. And that's where
The older system override switch.
the override switch, we do not. So here's the deal with the override switch. You want to make that call? I know my boss doesn't want to make that call, because then you get into an accident and the lawyers drag us into court, and now you're personally liable because you made the call to override the collision avoidance system. All right? I'm not going to be the one to make that call.
So how do we do it then? Because
We're not.
Bendix is gonna
We're
lock us
not.
down with that
We're not.
banner.
We're not. So that's where I said we have to be very strategic in how we deploy this technology. Now, that is on the older system. Again, with the new system and the camera, along with the sensor down below, there's a little more testing that we're going to have to do, and we're going to do some live testing with this stuff to try and get it to set it off, so we can provide that data back to those manufacturers. But here's the deal: less than 30% of our business is oversized. Okay, we know that in talking with them, companies that do primarily oversized business, they're not going to that technology because of this. It's not so much the regular banner that gives us issues. It's the reflective banner or anything that has reflective material on it that gives that sensor fits. Okay, there are ways to adjust the alignment on that sensor so that it's not picking things up off to the side of the road or overpasses because it's too high. They have changed things now. The sensor is trying to detect metal objects. So things like tumbleweeds or things non-metallic objects are not being picked up by the sensor. So there are some significant changes that they have made with the new versions that have come out this year. But again, as with every new version, then until I see it, I'm not 100% convinced. There are some things that they are allowing us to do, such as the beeping noise. So one of our objections
Jesus.
is the sound or the loud beeping noise, especially for a team. And that noise, that team driver that should be sleeping back there is getting constantly woken up because the driver, their partner is getting hit with a, following too close beeping or what have you. So they are integrating the ability to turn that down. They are also putting it on a separate system, so it's not coming through your normal stereo system now. It's coming through its own separate speaker, so that it's not back there in the sleeper area, making noises back there. There is all kinds of different testing or features that they're putting in. I've seen it on paper. I haven't seen it in live, movements yet. So other than the 6 that we already currently have, which is the old Bendix system. I know that we just, out of that 35 trucks that we ordered, I believe 4 or 5 of them are going to be coming with collision mitigation, and we will be integrating those things into our fleet. Okay? Tom Bach, you had a question.
Yeah, you're talking about the lane avoidance, the
Lane departure?
lane departure.
Yep.
I know that technology was mainly designed for dry van, reefer, tanker applications. What about for oversize in terms of over width mostly, and even over length or over height? You got over length loads where it's optical illusion, where like a long load can look like from a distance that it is avoiding the lane. How is the lane avoidance system going to be able to compensate for oversize, over width loads? It's gonna think that you're always, compromising your lane.
As I just answered with Jason Bailey's question, we have to be very strategic. There isn't a solution for that right now today. And that's why we're going to have to be very strategic about where and how we deploy this technology.
I have a solution. Don't install it.
Well, okay, but you want to pay the bill?
Yeah.
You want to pay? I mean, you want to pay the insurance cost for not putting that in there? Because I'm telling you right now, that is, you look across every one of those articles that has been coming out in regards to companies that are shutting down. Why is it happening? Insurance costs. The cost of doing business is going up, and it's continuing to go up, and it will continue to go up until companies or until we do the things that we have to do to mitigate those expense costs. You have,
Question for you.
yes.
What's the cost savings, insurance-wise?
So there is, that's a great question. There is cost savings, or there is insurance breaks that you can get by deploying this technology. I had a very lengthy, when I was down in Florida for that conference that I went to here last month, a very lengthy conversation with the Vice President of Safety at Bison Transport. Their 100% of their fleet is on collision mitigation. Now, they also don't do anything but vans and so they don't have the intricacies that we do. I have not seen, and I've been talking to various different companies. Lone Star, for the first time this year, Lone Star is putting, our sister company, is putting they are adding this technology to their fleet this year. It's going to take those companies that do haul a lot of overdimensional type work, working together to come up with a solution on how to deploy it with the things that we have to do, along with working with the states. Right? We have been having ongoing conversations with the state of Oregon, for example. Oregon is one of those states that if you run at night, you got to run the reflective banner, which the reflective banner gives us problems when we run them with collision mitigation. We have been asking, can we cut a hole in the front of the sign? Can we move the sign up? Can we do something different so that it's not right there? They have not been receptive to anything that we have asked. However, Dasky is a company, we've got a lot of power, right? We're the largest flatbed open deck trucking company in the United States. We need to work our lobbying folks that go and help make laws and suggest changes. So our organizations that we work with, Truckload Carriers Association being one of them, We need to go forward to those folks, and they're helping us push the technology, or helping to push the technology out there in the field. They're also helping to help write those regulations to help mitigate those issues that we're seeing with those technologies. So there's going to be a lot more to come, but guys, it's not going to be a choice at some point. And I know that it's coming. It's on the horizon, and I would rather try and be ahead of it than to be behind the curve and all of a sudden have this mandate come down that says we have to have everything, and all of a sudden we have to put it in 300 and some odd trucks, and we don't have any data or anything to back us up. Okay?
We have a question.
Yeah, question online. So, are we going to use the same justification, lower insurance costs? My screen just went out.
For installing driver.
For installing driver-facing cameras, absolutely not. No. As long as we can do so, there are, I believe, 2 Dasky companies right now currently that do not have inward-facing cameras. Smoky Point being one of those, and Lone Star being the other. I'm not interested in driver-facing cameras. I don't think Dan Workala or anybody else in this building is interested in driver-facing cameras, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on inside that truck that I really don't want to know why that truck's shaking. I really don't want to have. I don't want to see the pole in the center of the truck and the lights all going. Nope, I don't want to see it. All right.
You've already seen me when my air conditioning breaks.
No. I don't want to see you in your underwear and your flip-flops again, Tom Brock. I do not, there is not, and I am not aware of any plans for inward-facing cameras. Yes, getting our insurance costs, we do get a break by having cameras or outward-facing cameras, because that's what they're there for, right? To help mitigate or help us in the event of a collision and to come for our defense. They also hurt us, right? That's collision that I was talking about from last month. I watched that camera footage, and I'll just tell you, it was scary. It is scary to see that impact, and understand now. I've got the backstory, and so I know what happened there and what all the ramifications were. We are very fortunate that we didn't have DOT here the next day, and that we didn't have any fatalities in that crash. So we'll just leave it at that.
Keep going.
All right, did I have more questions or no? All right. Using your resources wisely. All right. Driver advocate, fleet managers, regional managers. I was trying to figure out what was I trying to say there. I know, you guys have been trying to figure that out for 7 years. Resources managing your resources, or using your resources. Okay, so each of you now has a driver manager that's been assigned to you. Okay, I got a call the other night at 10 o'clock at night, which I'm good. I have no problem with that. But the call came from Dan Workala. All right, Dan Workala got a call from a driver who had gone to a fuel location that wasn't an authorized fuel location. Why is that phone call going to our president? That is not a president of the company's phone call. That's not something he should be involved in, all right? Yes, I need to be involved in it, because I'm one of the only ones in this company that can change. Dan Workala can't even change somebody's settings on their fuel card. Myself, Mike Young. Those are the only 2 that can change those settings, okay? So yeah, I needed to be involved, but Dan Workala didn't need to be involved. And there's what?
What?
He can change it.
Why are you interrupting me, Tom Brock?
We can shoot you.
And this is why,
Fleet managers can add money to your cards, but again, if it's a setting that needs to be changed so you can fuel at an unauthorized location because you got stuck or whatever, we understand that those situations are going to happen. Call me directly. Send me a text message, something, right? Dan Dan Werkle doesn't need to be involved in that. He's the president of our company, guys. He doesn't need to be monitoring social media. He doesn't need to be dealing with the stuff that I talked about last week that I'm not going to talk about anymore. He doesn't, he's got a lot of things that he as a president of this company needs to be driving forward with. Okay? We've got resources for you. Please use them. Okay? Tracy, he's here. He's our freight guy. Right? So as I mentioned to the orientation folks every week when they come through orientation, Tracy and I divide the operations up into two different areas. There's the freight and there's the admin side. I handle admin side. Payroll, truck assignments, truck ordering, the 10,000 foot level stuff. That's squarely in my plate. Freight, fleet managers, planners, that's on Tracy's plate. And that's the only way we can kind of divide things up so that we give the necessary attention to those areas and those issues, okay? So please, use your resources and use them wisely. We've got a lot of resources out there, guys. The dog card. Nowhere on the driver's operations guide is Dan Werkle's phone number, right? It's not on there for a reason. Now, I don't have a problem with people calling Dan. His office door is open for a reason, and we have that open door policy. But guys, there are just some things that Dan Werkle does not need to be involved in. And we'll just leave it at that, okay? Thank you, guys. I'm not here to. It seems like every time I come on here, it's to bitch at people or to complain about something that's happening, and that's not my intention. I just want us to get better and want to continue to push this thing forward. And as I said last week, we've gotten a lot better. We've got a lot. There has been a lot of improvements that we've made over the years and continue to make. And I just, it's a good place to be. And sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and look at the bigger picture. Okay? Questions? Trucker tip?
No questions.
All right, no questions.
Hey guys, I'm here with Mike Young, Mr. Hollywood, and he's here to talk about hose clamps. Here we go.
Hey guys, so this is a trucker tip that's, well, quite frankly, only going to help me, but help you alongside the road too. Been getting quite a few phone calls for broken air-to-air clamps, or the fact that they've lost turbo boost, or you've lost turbo boost, excuse me, or have a whistling noise. These blue boots, some trucks they're orange. These clamps here will bust on occasions. So not everybody carries clamps with them. Thank you to the trained people. Not everybody carries clamps with them, but if you carry a couple small hose clamps with you, you could tie them together. I even had a driver call me the other day, Miss Maria Jolsty, and she says, "Can I tie some small ones together?" I said, "That's a great idea. You're absolutely correct." So you tie them together, now you got a big one. So you notice one of these boots is, the clamp is busted. Finish taking off the broken one, wrap it around, tighten it up. Now your clamp is fixed again to get you to a repair facility where you get a proper clamp. If you don't have a clamp, but you have a metal coat hanger and you have wire cutters, you can cut a metal coat hanger, wrap it around it a couple times, twist it with your pliers, and it might get you to a point where you can get it fixed. Duct tape and zip ties does not work, guys. That's about all I got for you.
Right? Every time. So thank you, Mike, and guys, thank you for everything that you're doing out there. Appreciate everything. And Steve, what do you got?
Yeah, one more thing on ELD. I want everybody to log out and log back in
Right now?
right now, or when
Make sure you're
when they get
stopped.
stopped. That way, some of these updates will take effect. Sometimes they don't take effect until you reboot, log out, log back in, and you're good. So please do that.
The importance of that, guys, is if you're running, we have known issues, right, on the ELD program, and that's why they keep pushing these updates out, is to correct those known issues. If we don't get the correct version reporting, all of a sudden we're not getting our IFTA reporting for fuel miles. I'm not getting the miles for incentive pay purposes. What we have tracked it back to in many cases is the ELD device for that specific truck is not on the correct version, and therefore it's not reporting everything back to us like it's supposed to.
Yeah, there's a version mismatch.
Yep.
Which we only have 2 trucks like that right now, which I looked at this morning.
Good.
And we're in the process of fixing those too, so.
Cool.
Okay, so log out. Okay, so that'll be it for the day.
Stay safe, guys. Help each other.
Be kind to one another. And have a great day. Bye.